Shut up and sit down.
Good evening everyone, it's your man of the hour, the Tower of Power, the living legend of professional wrestling punditry. Hello, my name is Lee Hazel and this is the SteelChair show where we stare into the abyss between what fans want from a wrestling product and everything WWE actually puts out this week. It's WWE TLC, just 2 weeks removed from Survivor Series, which yet again brings up one of the major problems with the 2 pay-per-view per month structure. With such a short time since one of the big 4 pay-per-views, people are still talking about that show's explosive finish. So, not only did Goldberg and Lesnar overshadow the previous event's 3 hours of workmanlike extravagance with 2 minutes of spectacular mediocrity, they're overshadowing the hard work of everyone at this pay-per-view too. It's simply been too short a time to build up this card, to make it in any way feel meaningful. They needed to make this event feel huge if it stands any chance of being remembered. Did they do it? Let's find out. We start off the evening with the obligatory, predictable and stale 10-man tag team match on the kickoff show. The match ends with the good guys winning to get the crowd warmed up, with almost every finisher the teams have to offer being thrown around willy-nilly in what has become the biggest cliche on the pre-show. It seems that with 4 belts representing 3 divisions on SmackDown Live, one of them has to be the one that gets left out in the cold, and the Blue brand has decided that that division should be the tag team division. The way they've booked the tag team division has been baffling to me, to say the least. On paper, the division is very strong, but the handling of certain teams has made the tag team roster seem weak in the eyes of fans, and having improvised duct tape tag teams like Slater and Rhino and Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton being the only tag teams on a 3-hour show hasn't helped their case. With these guys and Sheamus and Cesaro on Raw, the message is clear. Organic and established teams are not as important as having the division promote stagnating mid-card talent. Fortunately, the division does get a shake-up as Bray and Randy take the titles off of Slater and Rhino. And while their time at the top might be part of the problem, they fit together a lot better than their opponents do. Plus, it's really good to see Bray with some gold around his waist for once. He's been doing the best work possible under the worst booking a single guy can take, and it's about time he got some due. He looked really good with Orton in his match too, and the crowd were behind them. They're really showing their love for the Eater of Worlds, and Bray really brought that extra aggression that sets out his pay-per-view performances apart from the stuff that he does on TV. But having said all that, we've still got just under 3 hours to go until the end of the show, and we're already done with the tag teams. Next, Nikki Bella definitively ends her feud with Carmella by beating her clean in the middle of the ring in a no disqualification match. Nothing special really, nothing you wouldn't see on a normal show on SmackDown, but nothing disastrous either. Although Carmella does lose after essentially drowning in CO2 from a fire extinguisher, which, if I cared about Carmella, I would probably complain that this would destroy her legitimacy as an opponent. Carmella gets a mic after the match to tell Nikki that it was Natalya who attacked her at Survivor Series, setting up her for their feud. But that leaves Carmella somewhat directionless, which is a shame as she's been doing some really great heel work in the last few weeks, especially that last promo she did on SmackDown, targeting John Cena and Nikki Bella's relationship. Natalya, by the way, her only appearance on the show is as a representative for the show's sponsors, an engagement ring company. Seriously? What engagement ring company wants to advertise themselves on a wrestling show? But not only just a wrestling show, on TLC Tables, Ladders and Chairs, one of the most violent and vicious wrestling shows of the year. I mean, I know guys are by far and away the biggest audience for engagement rings, but imagine telling the mother of the bride where you got the idea for the stone that you used to commit to her daughter forever with from. Anyway, next we get a really good setup for the Intercontinental title fight going over the top stars who have held the title in the past. The editing team have really given the belt some prestige, where in the last few years it may have gotten a little bit lost in the shuffle. Then, The Miz and Daniel Bryan have a really good exchange, but by now they actually have to go through the whole Bryan vs Miz thing that they've been teasing for so long, and if they don't, and I'm not sure they can by the way, I'm not sure that Bryan would be cleared to compete, it's a recipe for disappointment. The match between Miz and Ziggler isn't the best of their bouts, but it's still the match of the night. Miz has always been more suited to the psychology spotlight rather than the spotty spotlight, but this is hard hitting with plenty of ladder action. And when the Miz starts targeting Dolph's legs, that's when the match really becomes brutal. The moves here aren't flashy, but they are effective in getting the point across. They look devastating too, and his figure 4 through the ladder looked like torture. The finish is great with an agonisingly slow build and a dastardly finish that thankfully did not result to using Maurice in any way. This was all topped off by a superb post-match promo that made me want to throw my remote through the screen. The Miz is the best heel on the entire roster right now, and he makes me hate him so damn well. a truly awesome match, although WWE are going to have to do some work in order for whoever takes the title off of The Miz for it to feel anywhere near as special as it would have had done if Dolph took it from him. Once again, the only person I can think of that can take it from him would be Daniel Bryan, but will he be able to wrestle? Next we have Baron Corbin and Kalisto having a Lego playdate with a dozen steel chairs. Now, despite this publication's name, a steel chair match isn't necessarily something the wrestling arm of Vulturehound are massively behind. I mean, is everything legal or is it just chairs? Will a kendo stick earn a disqualification? I mean, at least a ladder match has a stipulation to go with it, ditto a tables match. But isn't a steel chair match just a no DQ match with some aesthetics? Anyway, the underdog story here is believable with Kalisto doing a moonsault onto Corbin with a steel chair that provides a perfectly timed near fall, but Corbin comes back and clotheslines Kalisto with a steel chair as Kalisto dives off the ropes, which is the right finish because it looked like it decapitated the little luchador. The end of days on the pile of chairs just drives home Corbin's sadism. Now he looks monstrous. It's actually been a night of heels so far, which is a nice change of pace for a WWE show. Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss fighting for the SmackDown Women's Championship are such a good pairing. Both have brightly coloured comic book inspired looks that make their matches together look like they've been ripped out of the pages of Silver Age DC comics. Becky comes out vicious but to no avail. Alexa Bliss beats Becky by raking her eyes and in the confusion popping her through a table in a surprise finish. And what's even more surprising is that heels are running the show tonight. Ambrose has to be the guy to beat AJ Styles now, just to give Dallas something to go home feeling good about. But how will this smarky crowd feel about AJ Styles losing his championship? Well, their battle is next, and this is a street fight pure and simple. Ambrose is in his element, taking it to the stage decorations and making it look like he's improvising. But for every moment that Dean looks like the streetwise thug he should always look like, there is a moment like him putting a dustbin over the head of Styles, where you realise he just can't quite shake that whole Three Stooges slapstick routine that undermines him. It disappears eventually, however, as he gets closer to the ring and the match becomes a relentless contest of one-upmanship. Ambrose gives Styles an elbow drop off of a ladder and onto an announce desk. AJ does a 450 splash while Dean is on a table. It's a showing of fortitude and integrity befitting a WWE Championship match. Then, James Ellsworth comes along. Talk about a hell of a distraction. The whole time he's at the side of the ring, I'm not looking at AJ and Dean climbing the ladder. I'm staring at Ellsworth, praying he doesn't move and ruin anything. Then he does. The fabled heel turn. Costs Dean and helps AJ. The inclusion of this guy in the main event cheapens it. How they explain it is possibly even worse. James Ellsworth doesn't see himself as a heel in this situation, he sees himself as a smart strategist. He thinks that because he's beaten AJ Styles 3 times in the past, despite the fact that all 3 of those victories were entirely because of Dean Ambrose, that he can just walk into the ring with AJ Styles in a one-on-one match and walk out the World Heavyweight Champion. As if he's the favourite. Yes, so it looks like he's going to be feuding with Dean now. So anyway, one of my predictions for 2017 is that James Ellsworth is going to be gone by spring, and if Dean Ambrose ain't lucky, he's going to drag Dean down along with him. So for the second time in a row, WWE ends a really good pay-per-view with an ending designed to generate internet rage and promote the product across social media with all of the trolls going absolutely nuts. So this is why Donald Trump felt so at home in WWE. Heels across the board won tonight. That's a bit backwards considering WWE's booking has always gone in the direction of optimising merchandise sales with face wins, but despite the fact that it was initially refreshing, eventually, throughout the night, an entire night of this, it kind of became stale and predictable, and plus, it killed the crowd stone dead. But at least WWE have finally gotten over the whole Lesnar-Goldberg thing, and sure, they did it by having James Ellsworth turn heel, but still. Well, there you have it, folks. That was a SteelChair shot. Thank you for listening to all of my ramblings, and please don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to comment if you agree or if you disagree. Check out the mag at vulturehound.com, where you can find all of our back issues, and you can catch us all on Twitter at SteelChairMag and me at Fly Like a Cow. Thank you.